Welcome, dear dreamer. As you settle beneath your blanket, allow your body to soften with every breath. Inhale deeply through your nose and exhale slowly through your lips. Feel the calm rise within you, like a gentle tide washing over the shore of your mind. The world outside can rest for a while. This is your time to drift, to dream, and to wander softly into a story woven from peace and starlight. The night stroll through Lindenbrook Library. The night had settled softly over the town of Lindenbrook, a quiet riverside place tucked between rolling hills and clusters of tall, whispering trees. It was the kind of town where people still greeted one another by name, where lanterns glowed warmly outside small bakeries, and where the gentle murmur of the river could be heard no matter where you stood. The air carried a cool hint of early autumn, crisp but not cold, scented faintly with dried leaves and the comforting aroma of old books drifting from the windows of the most beloved building in town, Lindenbrook Library. Tonight, you had been invited to something unusual. A midnight cultural walk inside the library, a once-a-year event that only a handful of people were ever selected to join. No one knew exactly why only certain people were invited, nor how the librarians decided. Some said the library had a way of choosing visitors on its own. You didn't know whether to believe that, but as you approached the building, you couldn't deny its aura, mysterious, ancient, almost magical. The library stood on a slight hill overlooking the river, a grand stone structure built in the late 1800s. A round clock tower rose from its center, chiming every hour with a soft melody that echoed through town. Rows of tall windows reflected the moonlight, and ivy curled along the stone walls like dark green ribbons. As you walked up the path, the leaves beneath your shoes rustled softly, and lanterns lining the walkway flickered as if greeting you. A gentle breeze brushed against your face, carrying the distant scent of cinnamon from a nearby cafe that had just closed for the night. You reached the tall wooden doors of the library, ornately carved with swirling patterns of vines, books, and tiny stars. A brass sign read, Lindenbrook Library, Knowledge, Wonder, and Quiet Magic since 1884. The doors opened with a low, steady creak, as if they had been expecting you. And there, standing just inside the entrance, was Miss Ellery, the head librarian. Miss Ellery was a woman in her late 60s, with silver hair pinned neatly into a bun, and eyes so bright they seemed to glow in the low light. She wore a long emerald green shawl that flowed gracefully as she moved. "Welcome," she said, her voice calm and warm. "We're delighted you could join us tonight." You stepped into the foyer, letting the warmth of the library wash over you. The scent of old parchment, polished wood, and freshly brewed tea filled the air. Soft lamps glowed from sconces on the walls, illuminating a large mosaic on the floor, a map of Lindenbrook as it had looked over a century ago. You noticed that the river in the mosaic glimmered slightly, as though reflecting real moonlight. "Please," Miss Ellery said, gesturing toward a small group of other guests waiting near a staircase. "Make yourself comfortable. Our midnight walk will begin shortly. You join the group." People whispered quietly, some admiring the architecture, others looking curiously at the massive shelves lining the walls. After a few minutes, Miss Ellery clapped her hands gently. "Everyone," she said, "tonight you will explore corners of Lindenbrook Library a few have ever seen. Some hallways have been closed for decades, others simply forgotten. But each carries stories waiting to be heard." Her words settled into the room like a soft blanket, comforting yet full of promise. With that, she led the group forward, and your midnight journey began. Your first stop was a long corridor known as the Hall of Lanterns, though the name hardly did it justice. As you entered, dozens, perhaps hundreds of lanterns hung from the ceiling, each glowing gently with a different hue: pale blue, warm gold, soft green, muted rose. The light shimmered like floating stars suspended in a dream. These lanterns were donated by families in Lindenbrook long ago, Miss Ellery explained. Each one contains a memory, a meaningful moment captured in light. She paused by a lantern glowing a faint violet. "This one," she said softly, "holds the memory of a man proposing to the love of his life right here in the library garden, nearly 80 years ago." You gazed at it, and though you couldn't see images, you felt something warm, hopeful, gentle like a soft wave of emotion. The group stood quietly for a while, listening to the soft hum of the lanterns. As if they whispered their stories into the air, you felt your breathing slow, your shoulders relaxed, and the night grew deeper. Next came a narrow, spiraling staircase, hidden behind a panel of shelves. When Miss Ellery pulled a leather-bound book forward, the shelf slid aside silently, revealing the passage. "It's safe, I promise," she chuckled, "though it may whisper." The staircase was made of dark wood, polished smooth by time. As the group climbed, you heard faint murmurs, soft like a breeze, yet rhythmic like speech. "Is that someone talking?" a guest asked. "Yes," Miss Ellery replied, "but don't be alarmed. This staircase was built using wood from the whispering pines that once grew just outside town. It remembers every conversation it has heard, and repeats them." You listened carefully. A soft voice drifted through the air. "Don't forget to return that book." Another voice followed, sounding amused. "But I haven't even finished it yet." Light laughter echoed faintly. None of it was frightening. Instead, it felt comforting, like hearing distant echoes of the library's long, vibrant life. When you reached the top, the whispers faded, replaced by a stillness so gentle it felt sacred. You stepped into a circular room crowned with a glass dome roof. The stars above shone brilliantly, unhindered by city lights. The moon hung low, painting the room in silver. "Welcome to the observatory room," Miss Ellery said softly. "Few people come here anymore." Bookshelves lined the walls in neat arcs. A large telescope stood by the window, its brass frame gleaming in the moonlight. The group spread out, exploring quietly. You approached the telescope and leaned close. Through the lens, you saw the moon's craters in sharp detail, glowing like snow on distant mountains. For a moment, the world felt weightless. Miss Ellery approached and stood beside you. "This library has always had a special connection to the night sky," she said. "The founder, Elias Linden, believed that stories and stars were closely linked, that each held secrets waiting for curious minds." Her voice lowered slightly, and he was right. When she stepped away, you noticed a book lying open on a nearby table. Its pages were filled with drawings of constellations, some familiar, some entirely new. And beneath one illustration was a note: "Stories live longer than the people who write them." You let the words settle into you, like snowflakes landing gently on warm skin. Your next destination was surprising. Miss Ellery led you down a hallway lined with portraits of past librarians, stern men and gentle women, scholars and storytellers. At the end of the hallway stood a small door painted pale blue. "This," she said, "was the original entrance to the library's garden. It was sealed for many years, but we reopen it on nights like this." She pushed the door open. A soft gasp rippled through the group. The garden was bathed in moonlight, glowing softly as though dusted with silver. Paths of smooth stones wound among tall ferns, flowering shrubs, and leafy arches draped in vines. Fireflies drifted lazily through the air, blinking like tiny lanterns. You stepped outside and inhaled the fresh night air. The scent of jasmine and cool earth filled your senses. A fountain stood at the center of the garden, its water trickling gently in a rhythm that almost lulled you to sleep. A wooden bench sat beside it, worn smooth by countless visitors of the past. "This place," Miss Ellery said quietly, "was where many writers came to find inspiration. Some say the library's stories began here." She smiled softly. "Take a moment. Let the garden speak to you." You wandered slowly along the pathway, listening to the rustle of leaves overhead. Somewhere in the distance, an owl hooted. The world felt perfectly still, peaceful, tender, timeless. As you walked, your thoughts drifted like clouds, light and unhurried. It felt as though the garden was breathing with you. When you returned inside, Miss Ellery guided the group to a small, dimly lit room. Candle-like lamps flickered on the walls. Stacks of old books filled the space, their pages yellowed with age. "This," she said, "is the room of echoed pages." She lifted a book gently, as though handling something fragile and precious. Every book here carries the sounds of the moments in which they were written, if you listen closely. She opened the book to its very first page. At first, you heard nothing. Then, softly, like wind slipping through a window, came the faint scratch of a pen moving across paper. A slow, steady rhythm, a quiet sigh, the shift of a chair. It was the past, echoing gently into the present. Another book revealed the soft chords of a piano melody the author must have composed while writing. A third carried the muffled laughter of children playing outside. You felt something warm settle in your chest, a sense of connection to people long gone, to moments long finished, yet still alive in some small way. The room was a time capsule of emotions. Finally, Miss Ellery led the group toward a staircase that spiraled up into the heart of the library's clock tower. "The tour is nearly over," she said, "but the tower offers a view worth remembering." The climb was gentle, the wooden steps creaking softly beneath your feet. When you reached the top, Miss Ellery opened the final door. A breath of cool night air swept in. You stepped out onto a circular balcony encircling the tower. Below, the town of Lindenbrook shimmered softly beneath the moon. The river glistened like a silver ribbon. Lanterns along the streets cast warm pools of light, but the sky was breathtaking. Stars spilled across the darkness like scattered diamonds, and the moon shone bright and full. Clouds drifted lazily along the horizon. "It's beautiful," someone whispered. "It always is," Miss Ellery replied. She turned to the group, her shawl fluttering gently in the breeze. Lindenbrook Library was built not just for reading, she said, but for reminding us that wonder still exists in the world, that quiet places hold power, that stories, whether written in books, whispered through staircases, or captured in lanterns, are what keep us connected to one another. Her eyes softened. And that's sometimes all we need, is a quiet walk at midnight. The group stood in peaceful silence, soaking in the moment. Then Miss Ellery gently tapped the railing. "It's time." You followed her back down the tower, through the library's sleeping halls, and toward the entrance. The lanterns flickered softly as you passed. The books seemed to breathe, and the building hummed with a deep, peaceful warmth. At the door, Miss Ellery turned to you. "Thank you for joining us," she said. "You're welcome to return whenever the night calls you." She smiled a kind, mysterious smile. You stepped outside into the cool night air. The doors closed softly behind you. And as you walked down the path, the lanterns glowing gently at your side, you felt the world settle into a calm, sleepy hush. The river whispered in the distance. The stars shimmered overhead, and the quiet magic of Lindenbrook Library lingered with you, warm, comforting, and steady as you drifted slowly toward rest.